Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Yomo. It's going to be different. We're not going to do a podcast today. It's topic of what do we learn from playing blank. And now we're going to talk about Dota 2. And joining me is a new member of Yomo. It's Eran. Say hello.
Hello everyone. It's Eran here.
Yeah, he's also from in the land of Indonesia. But yes, we're going to talk about Dota and what did we learn from it. What the fuck is Dota? It's a mobile game. Was released in 2013. It's one of the most popular titles in esports.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably top three in terms of popularity and top one in terms of actual earnings. Like, it's constantly breaking its own record on earnings from a tournament.
Yes, since TI4. TI4 was what 14 million?
I think so.
Yes, and then TI8, which is the one last year, was 25, just about break the TI7 record. But hey,
It was pretty
25
close.
million dollars.
The first thing about Dota is one of the big reasons for its popularity is the complex gameplay. There's so many things about Dota that you need to plan for and you need to learn. It has one of the highest skill floors. Like you need to invest a lot of time even before playing the game to actually learn it. Dota recently has kind of had trouble trying to bring in new players exactly because of that. It's hard.
Yeah,
It's hard to get into the game when you just can't learn how to play the game because it's too complex.
yeah. And then there's
Uh,
short-term planning, and then there's long-term planning.
in terms of strategies in Dota, there's a lot of things you need to think about throughout the whole game. And the things you need to think about, it changes through from game to game. Because first of all, there's items, there's heroes, and there's the fact that there are nine other people than you each time that you play a game. Like in terms of short term planning, first of all, is laning and where you what you have to buy during the early game. Sometimes you want to buy an item that helps you transition the mid and the late game, or sometimes you just want to buy the early game items to win now. And that kind of things is kind of hard for people to understand. Like some people just like do the same thing over and over again, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And the truly great players constantly know which one to go for every time. In the long term planning, there's basically like objectives and strategies, and most of it is like learning when to push your advantage or when to minimize your disadvantage. Another thing that really needs to be talked about is that the game gets patched. It's not something that stays the same all the time. That it gets changes every now and then, and that's another big thing in terms of strategy is knowing what changes in between patches, what's or not.
Yeah,
And all this like creates a really complex game that no one has ever yet to master. Like there's obviously the best player, but even the best player is
yeah,
not a perfect player, and that's like the big draw in and the big thing why I feel like such a popular game.
yes.
You
It's
can
just
continue.
to teach you how to strategize, how to make things work, how to find out, oh, this thing is broken. I need to capitalize on this, or to avoid the bad heroes or the bad items, and also adjusting your playstyle accordingly to these patches. It's like, okay, one patch you need to play with a really high tempo, and another patch you have to be turtling all the time and rely on comebacks and things like that. Which brings us to the teamwork essence of the game. Like, as soon as you just queue for this game, you know that you will meet random people.
Yeah.
When you meet these randoms, you have to make your lineup work. You know, speaking from solo queue, it's you plus four people that you literally have never meet, but you are forced to just play with them and strategize and just mesh together to actually win the game.
And it's kind of like actual works in the office. Sometimes you get uh, group project, and your boss like assigns you your coworkers, and you can't really pick them, and you just gotta work with what you have.
Yeah,
So that's how when you play party queue, yes, you can choose your friends, but sometimes like the people you choose, you kind of don't really choose them at the same times because you have to play with them because they're your friends and they ask to play with you, and you can't really say no. So it's
yeah.
kind of the same.
I mean, we've been there quite plenty of times. And also, what is really crucial in teamwork is communication, because this game actually forces you to communicate with each other, because you have this different roles. You know, you have the supports have to talk with the other support and what they want to do, and then convey those information to the carries and the mid player to just move the team together and putting everyone in the same page in order to proceed in the game to gain that win. And if you don't want to just work with anyone in the game, most likely you're gonna get punished by the game itself. It's not one, you're really being a really bad teammate, and the next thing you know, you probably will lose the game. And if you talk about in the real life circumstances, if you're in a group project and you don't want to work with the group, it's either gonna get kicked out, or the project is not going to be as good as if you want.
Yeah, everyone really has to be on the same page. Like most of the time that you're usually in voice communications, because sometimes some people don't really like to use that because
Yeah,
they're yeah, conscious of their own voice or something like that. But
yeah.
yeah,
They're
it's
pussies, bro. Beta males. Fuck. I hate people like that in my
hey,
games.
my
You know,
boss
like
is like that.
don't even say anything, and then suddenly one mistake, they just abuse the keyboard. It's like, oh, bro, you did this shit wrong. Oh, you should have done that. Then fucking talk to us, man. You have a mic button.
Yeah,
You have a keyboard. You can write on that shit. So just
you can't expect other people to know what you're thinking. You
yeah,
can't.
exactly. You
If you
you
have
have
something that you know will gonna work, just tell others. Gitu. Don't keep it to yourself.
yeah. Don't be shy. This game is we have a really loving community. You know, especially me. I'm a really nice player. You know, my
We're
my
all very kind and caring.
yeah. I have
We'll
a
take
really
care of
high
you.
patient tolerance. So you better just hey bro, if we meet in the EU server or some shit, just talk to me, man. Just talk to me. Which is brings us to PMA, positive mental
Positive
attitude.
mental attitude.
That shit is really fucking important in this game, like really important, because you already have a hard game. It just gives you that mental workload. Because this game is really hard, and I want to win this. If I don't win this, I will probably lose 25 to MMR. But if I win, I get that green plus 25. You know, it become a fucking obsession to win.
If you like share around your positivity, can actually make your teammates be better gitu. Like obviously if your teammates doing poorly and then you flame them, they're gonna play even worse. They're gonna feel bad, they're gonna be
Yeah,
stressed, and they're gonna feel worse. So it's first of all, it's better not to flame. But another thing you can do, you can also give them positive reinforcement. Like you can like help them, give them advice, telling them that hey man, it's no problem, we can still come back, we can still win, you're doing just fine gitu. It motivates them and they'll play better gitu. So don't just like, yeah, keeping positive mental attitude for yourself is important, but sharing it is even better. It can actually increase your win rate. Like I've seen some people, like they're not really that great mechanical players, but they do better than the mechanical players that are toxic because they coordinate with their team much better than them.
that's why keep it PMA. Even though you meet those strangers and the stereotypical toxic players in each region, you know, the Russians, the Pinoys, the Peruvians. You know, like I've played with the Russians. I played with the Pinoys as well. I can
Yeah,
tell you,
like
like it's hard. You know, they can be. really toxic, but you have to keep it calm. Don't yell at them. Okay, maybe sometimes yell at them because they like to be hyped, but don't flame them and just
Yeah,
compliment.
it's very important to remember that there's another person on the other side, gitu. And you have to like, you probably also don't like to be flamed, so try to not flame others.
Yes. Also, PMA, we want to relate this to football because me and Eran
Yeah.
played in the same team and football team during high school, and it was
Hmm.
kind of like the same thing. We could relate what we learned from playing Dota into the team. Like we were having really hard games and we have to win, so we have to communicate and just keep everyone mentality up, just mentally
Yeah.
positive.
Like, you
Uh,
have to make sure everyone's on the same page again, and makes have to make sure that no one's feeling too down. Like in actual, it's very looked down upon to blame your teammates, even if it's true, because
yeah,
like that doesn't help anything.
yeah. I mean, we have a striker, 3 seasons,
Yeah.
man. We played like 10 games each season, 0 goals. 30 games, 0 goals. I played defender. I scored twice. It was frustrating to see, but we just keep feeding those balls, but he just couldn't score. But we didn't really flame him. Back then we didn't flame him. Now we flame him
Yeah. And
because it's
also, like,
already like an inside joke. It's already like a recurring joke.
I mean, just cause he's not scoring doesn't mean that we shouldn't pass to him. We
Yeah,
still need to have trust in our teammates that
we have
maybe
11
he didn't
players. We have to
he
use that.
didn't show us that he could, but there
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
chance.
There were like some chances, but you know he didn't have the confidence. I think. Okay, back to the things that we learned from Dota. The last thing is a sense of community because this game was built upon a community because it started as a
Yeah.
mod in Warcraft 3 back in 2000. I don't know.
Yeah, it was like it was a custom game from an already existing game, and it got popular enough to become its own standalone thing. Like,
Yeah, it got the remakes of like Han, LOL, Dota All Stars, and eventually Dota 2. You know, when you hear about how the people are playing is really toxic, blah blah blah, but when you meet the people outside the game, bro, they're friendly as fuck. Like if you see the Dota 2 subreddit, it's just shit posts and memes. You know, there's nothing else.
like compared to all the other MOBAs, Dota is like the one that is the most community driven. And compared to like League of Legends, where the players are like contracted to teams and most of their salary comes from teams, Dota usually the teams just recruit the players, and then the players get most of their money from prize pools. Like if they don't win, they don't actually get anything. Like there's not really much job security in it, but people still compete in it. And another thing is that the the casters, the analysts, the host for each tournament, they're all from the community. They're not hired by Valve or anything. They're
Yeah,
from the community.
shout out to Shiver. Oh, dude, she's like the icon at the moment because
Yeah, it's like
her
spreading
stories is
positivity.
yeah, her stories is amazing. I mean, she still has breast cancer, but she kept
Yeah,
on thriving and thriving.
and the
Uh,
community support around her has been like very heartwarming to see.
yeah, and just the fact that she still works on panels and events, it's really amazing to see that the community has that sense of I don't know, family.
Yeah, like everyone's like helping her to keep being able to do what she wants to do.
Yeah,
No one's no one's leaving her out.
yeah, it's really amazing to see that. And also, Dota builds, you know, knowing they come from a mod allows the community to make such mods in the game
Yeah,
as well. So we have this mini games like Overthrow, also back then Dota Run and shit like that. But now, oh dude, now the shit, the shit
The
that
God game.
yeah, the god game that everyone is so obsessed with. It's Dota Chess. That game is just so good. You have the base game, which is really fun, but then the
Yeah.
community also shares their own game, and then everyone is just playing it and having fun with it.
I think like Valve's very accommodating to the community to like because like they allow us to make these custom games, which sometimes like at this point is currently even almost as popular as the main game, you know?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like they're allowing us to be creative with their product. We're using Dota to make other kinds of games inside of Dota. That's like Valve's very generous to give that to us. Another thing that Valve is very generous to the community for is creating sets. Some people in the community that's like good with art, they get the models and stuff, and they create their skins. You create costumes for the heroes, and then but you submit it to the Dota workshop, and then if Valve likes it enough, they put it in the game as something people can buy, and the creator gets a part of the money that is used to purchase it. Like that's so
that's
great.
yeah, that's so smart. From Valve perspective, it's a really great business model, and from a community perspective, it's just a nice thing to see, man. I think, and also that's a really heartwarming ending to this talk. Yes, thank you for listening. Thank you, Aaron, for being here. You're gonna
Thank
see
you for
more of
having me
him,
here.
and we're gonna see each other sometimes when I do a face reveal. But you're gonna hear from us again next week. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.